Hi, I'm Lois and welcome to Morco Studios, and today we're making the PIPPA Drawstring Bag. These bags come in 3 sizes, small, medium and large. You can find all of the supplies, cutting templates and a detailed step-by-step written tutorial with colour photographs on how to make these pouches in the pattern. I will put a link to purchase the pattern in the description box below the video. In this video, I will be making the medium PIPPA drawstring bag. Using the templates provided in the pattern, cut out the pattern pieces in your chosen fabrics and apply interfacing to the wrong sides of both main body A exterior pieces and both base panel B pieces. The large and medium PIPPA bags need to be cut on the fold. To do this, fold your fabric in half and then align the place on fold edge of the paper template with the folded edge of your folded fabric. Do not cut along the folded edge. Once the fabric is cut out and opened up, like you would open a book, it will be the correct shape and size. Cutting the lining pieces. Match the blue stars of pattern pieces A and B and loosely tape them together to form the lining piece. Then cut 2. Creating the exterior fabric panels. With the right sides of the fabrics facing each other, align the bottom edge of one of the main body pieces A with the top edge of one of the base panel pieces B and pin them together. Repeat with the other main body piece A and base panel piece B so that you have 2 pinned panels. Stitch the main body pieces A and base panel pieces B together with a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. Press the seams open to flatten them with a hot iron on the front and the back of the exterior fabric panels. Here is what the pressed seams should look like on the front and the back. Change your stitch length to 4 to 4.5 and connect your zipper foot. Top stitch just above and below the joining seam in coordinating thread. This gives the case a little bit of extra detail as well as helping to keep those pressed seams flat. You can use your zipper foot for this if you prefer. Both of your exterior fabric panels are now ready for the next step. Take one of your lining pieces and lay it down on the table. Then lay one of your exterior fabric panels on top. Align the bottom edge. Then remove any excess lining fabric from the top. Repeat for the other lining piece. If you miss this step, then the lining will be too big for the bag. Lay down both exterior fabric panels right side up. Using the Molko paper pattern, transfer the top and bottom drawstring channel marks from the paper pattern to both edges of both the exterior fabric panels. Set your sewing machine to zigzag stitch, your needle position to 5, and set your stitch length to 1. Then sew a zigzag stitch between the top and the bottom drawstring channel marks that you just made. Do this for both sides of both exterior fabric panels. This is to prevent the fabric from fraying and tangling when you open and close the drawstring bag. Here is a close-up view of both my panels zigzag stitched. Lay both of your lining pieces right side up. Then lay one of the exterior fabric panels wrong side up on top of each. Align all of the edges and pin the panels together just along the top. Reset your sewing machine to straight stitch, your needle position to central and your stitch length to 2 to 2.5. Then sew across the top edge of the bags with a 0.6 cm or 1/4 of an inch. Make sure to back stitch at the start and end of your line of stitch to ensure the seams do not come open. Press the seams open and flatten them really well with a hot iron on the front and the back of both fabric panels. lay one of your exterior fabric panels and lining panels on the table, right side up, and place the other exterior fabric panels and lining panels on top, wrong side up, so that both right sides of the fabrics are touching each other. Align all the edges, then pin the sides and bottom of the bag together, leaving the square areas of the corners open. When pinning, pay extra attention to the contrasting seams and the top edge seams. You want these to match up perfectly. Pin these seams first, then pin the rest of the bag. Using chalk or an invisible marker. Mark a 7 cm or 3 inch gap in the middle of the bottom of the lining. This gap is important for turning the pouch out at the end. Take some chalk or an invisible marker and highlight the start and end points of your zigzag stitches. Remember, these zigzag stitches indicate the top and the bottom of the drawstring channels, and we need to keep them open. Sew all the way around the bag, leaving the following points open and unsewn the marked zigzag points for the drawstring channels, the square areas of the corners of the bag. A 7 cm or 3 inch gap in the bottom section of the lining for turning the bag out. When you reach these points, make sure to backstitch at the start and end of your line of stitches to ensure the seams do not come open. Once all of the sides are sewn, press your seams open with a hot iron. Will ensure that your corners and edges stay nice and flat and not bulky. Next, it's time to pay attention to those corners that give this pouch its great shape. There are 4 corners to sew, 2 in the exterior fabric and 2 in the lining fabric. Pinch one of the square openings in the opposite direction so that it creates a corner shape. Make sure to align the seams. You will find this step much easier now that the seams have been pressed open. Pin the pinched corner closed. Then, repeat for the other corners. It should now look like this. Stitch each corner with a 1/4 inch seam allowance, making sure to backstitch at the start and end to ensure the seams do not come open. Once all the corners have been stitched, it should look like this. Reach into the gap in the lining and turn the bag right side out. Poke out the corners with your fingers. Or use a pokey tool and straighten up your seams. I use the end of an old wooden paintbrush. Now we are going to close up the gap in the lining. Fold the raw edges of the lining gap inwards and either close with a hand stitch or you can pin and sew the opening shut using a 0.3 centimetre or 1/8 of an inch seam allowance, so it will not be that noticeable. Push the lining back into the bag and push the corners into each other. Then press the top edges with a hot iron so they are nice and flat. Remove the extension table and the accessory compartment from your sewing machine so the bag can fit around the machine arm easily. Top stitch around the top edge of the bag using a 0.5 centimetre or 3/16 of an inch away from the edge. I like to use a stitch length of 3.5 for this, as it gives the bag a lovely finish. A trick to get a neat knot, 0.5 centimetre or 3/16 of an inch seam allowance, is to change needle position to the far right, then use the edge of your standard sewing foot as a guide by keeping it in line with the top edge of the bag as you sew. Take some chalk or an invisible marker and highlight the top and the bottom of the drawstring hole on each side of the bag. As we are now marking the outside of the fabric, which will be on show, it is a good idea to make sure you test that your chalk or vanishing marker is removable from your chosen fabric. A tracing wheel is a great alternative if it isn't. Draw a line joining both marks from one side of the bag to the other on both sides of the bag. Do this for the top and bottom hole drawstring marks. You should now have two marked lines, one 3.5 centimetres or 1.3 inches from the top edge and one 2.5 centimetres or 1 inch below that. Again, using a stitch length of 3 or 3.5, sew along the marks you made to sew in the drawstring channels. Make sure to backstitch at the end of your line of stitches to close the line of stitches. I like to start and finish at one of the side seams so the backstitch is hidden within the crease. Here is a view of both of my drawstring channels sewn. You can just see the little gap in between the line of stitches where we are now going to insert the drawstring. If you are using a cord or ribbon that frays easily, wrap a small amount of electrical tape around each end to prevent fraying. Attach a safety pin through one end of each of your drawstrings. This will help feed it through your bag more easily. Insert the safety pin into one of the open gaps, then feed the pin all the way around the bag, exiting at your starting point. You may find it easier working from the lining, as the lining fabric is usually thinner, so you will be able to feel the pin better. Do the same again with the other opposite open gap, going all the way around the bag and exiting at your starting point. This time, it may be a little harder, as you will have to squeeze past the other drawstring. Remove the safety pin and tape if using. And tie a tight knot at the end of each drawstring. I threaded some lovely wooden beads onto my drawstrings before knotting, but this is totally optional. pull both drawstrings simultaneously to close the bag up, then your drawstring bag is now complete. I really hope that you enjoyed this tutorial and you are proud of your new bag. If you appreciate this video, please like and subscribe to my channel. To purchase the paper templates used in this tutorial, please follow the link in the description box below the video. The PDF pattern also includes a supplies list and a detailed step-by-step written tutorial with colour photographs. Your purchase helps support my business so I can keep creating more tutorials like this one. To see what other sewing tutorials and patterns I have on offer, head over to molco.co.uk